Hello and welcome to ScaleUp Club Monthly, the podcast dedicated to helping your business reach new heights.
I'm Granger Forson and I'm here with
Kevin Brent, and together we're excited to dive into a topic that's absolutely crucial for any scaling business: customer service.
That's right, Kevin. Today we're discussing how to turn your customer service from a support function into a strategic growth lever. We'll be referencing our monthly theme booklet on the topic.
Exactly. We'll show you how to ensure that you retain more customers and how to build more effective referrals. It's more than just being reactive, it's about strategically enhancing your business. Let's dive in.
So, Kevin, I think a lot of people see customer service as just that, a support function, something you just have to, handle. The person who's least busy gets to deal with it, right?
Exactly, Granger, but that's where so many businesses get it wrong. It's a common misconception and it can be really damaging in the long run. Customer service is so much more than just reacting to problems.
Right. It's not just about fixing things when they go wrong. It's a proactive strategy that directly impacts your bottom line. It's about customer retention, driving referrals, boosting team morale, and ultimately improving your entire offering.
Think about it. Happy customers stay longer and they tell their friends. Engaged employees feel valued and they provide a better service. And those happy customers, they give you the cash to grow. So by focusing on customer service, you're not just keeping people happy, you're fueling growth.
I think there's a fundamental shift in perspective that needs to happen. It's not just support, it's a strategy, a core strategy to achieve the goals that you've put in place to scale your business. It's about how you build advocacy.
Absolutely, Granger. And to really drive that point home, let's think about customer service as a growth lever, not a cost center.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's about recognizing that investing in customer service isn't just an expense. It's an investment that pays off big time. It was Bain & Company, I think, that found that increasing customer retention by just 5% can boost profits by anywhere from 25 to a whopping 95%.
Wow, that's huge. So it's not just about ethics or being a good person, it's good economics.
Exactly. It makes perfect business sense, which is why it should be at the forefront of every business's strategic thinking. Now, think about why most SMEs lose customers. It's not necessarily to their competitors.
No, usually it's death by 1,000 cuts, isn't it? Silence, confusion, unnecessary complexity, that kind of thing.
Spot on. Missed callbacks, unclear deliverables, no follow-up. Customers leave quietly and tell others loudly. These are the things that kill businesses. So how do we turn this around and make customer service a real driver of growth, Granger?
Good question, Kevin. And I think the answer lies in integrating customer service into the very fabric of our businesses, specifically in our entrepreneurial scale-up system, or ESUS.
ESUS, yeah. So for those of you who don't know, ESUS is essentially our framework that helps businesses scale effectively. And while customer service isn't a separate pillar, it's embedded throughout its structure, isn't it?
Absolutely. Think about it. It starts with your vision and values. Do your values actively help delight your customers? It continues with your Smart 90 planning, where you can use those 90-day cycles to resolve issues and test improvements.
Exactly. And then you've got your accountability chart, making sure each role has a customer impact in its mission. Your scorecards should include metrics like Net Promoter Score, retention, complaint themes, and resolution time.
And don't forget your Smart 7 meetings. Make customer feedback a regular agenda item. Actually listen to the issues. Don't just pay lip service.
Right, because all these elements working together, Granger, help create a culture that prioritizes the customer experience. This is where we start to get actionable, isn't it?
Exactly, Kevin. And that brings us to the SCALE model.
SCALE model? Tell me more, Granger.
Well, the SCALE model is a framework for systemizing your customer service, and it breaks down into 5 key components. SCALE makes sense, right?
Okay, so SCALE, break it down for us, Granger.
All right, so S stands for See the Customer. This is all about mapping their journey, identifying pain points, and removing any confusion or bottlenecks they might encounter. Think of it as like walking in their shoes, yeah?
I see, yeah, like putting yourself in the customer's shoes, identifying those points where it might not be the easiest for the customer.
Exactly. Then we move on to C, which is communicate proactively. So get ahead of potential problems by using what to expect updates. Keep your customers informed and manage their expectations. Proactive communication builds trust.
Right, so no one likes surprises, eh? Now that makes sense. What about the A?
A is for act with autonomy. Empower your staff. Give them the permission and the tools to resolve issues on the spot without needing to jump through hoops or get sign-off from 10 different managers, yeah?
Good point. Nothing is more annoying to a customer than hearing, "I'll have to check with my manager." What about L?
L stands for learn from feedback. Tag and theme the feedback you receive. Is there one thing that all your customers are saying? Are people getting to the root cause? Use it to fix underlying problems.
So it's not just about putting out fires, it's about preventing them in the first place.
Exactly. And finally, E is for elevate the experience. Add simple touches, thank yous, follow-ups, recognition. Go the extra mile to show your customers you appreciate them. So those little touches can make a big difference, right?
Absolutely, Granger. It's about those little details that leave a lasting impression. So SCALE, see, communicate, act, learn, elevate, makes perfect sense, Granger. So each stage is important for success, right?
Absolutely. It's a holistic approach. You can't just pick and choose. Each component reinforces the others. It's a full cycle to give value to the customer.
So that's the theory, but are there any real-world examples of companies actually putting this into practice?
Oh, absolutely, Kevin. The booklet shares a few great ones. Take Triplo ESG, for example. They built their ESG reporting tool around interviews with councils and SMEs. Their biggest pain point, complexity. So they simplified onboarding with a clarity call and built a product roadmap directly from user feedback.
So they directly addressed customer pain points and used that feedback to shape their product. That's a great use case of the learn component of the scale model.
Spot on, Kevin. Here's another. Think about Danny Matthews, who runs Short Story Ventures. They run branding sprints and test customer responses weekly. Feedback isn't a phase, it's built into every interaction, allowing them to adapt really rapidly.
Ah, I love that. Continuous feedback and adaptation. That touches on multiple elements of the scale model, doesn't it? See, communicate, and learn, all rolled into one. What is another example?
Well, during COVID, iLockerz added UV cleaning to their smart lockers after hospitals voiced hygiene concerns. This service feedback sparked product innovation and new markets for them, Kevin.
I see. So a great example of adapting their services based on customer feedback. Good for them. Now, how does that relate to the scale model?
That's a perfect example of acting with autonomy and learning from feedback rolled into one. They identified a need, acted quickly, and created a new offering to solve a problem.
Great examples, Granger. So it seems the key takeaway here is to listen to your customers, understand their needs, and be willing to adapt your business accordingly. You know, I'm starting to think these actions really can drive growth. Okay, so we've talked about why customer service is important and how to systemize it. But how do we actually know if our efforts are paying off?
That's a great question, Kevin. You can't improve what you don't measure, right? And that's where the Net Promoter Score, or NPS, comes in.
Ah, yes, NPS. I've heard of it, but maybe you can give our listeners a quick rundown.
Sure thing. Essentially, NPS is a metric that measures customer loyalty and willingness to recommend your company to others. It's based on one simple question. How likely are you to recommend us to a friend or colleague? Customers then rate their likelihood on a scale of 0 to 10.
And how do you turn those ratings into a score?
Good question. Well, based on their rating, customers are grouped into 3 categories. Promoters, those who give a 9 or 10, passives, who give a 7 or 8, and detractors, who score you from 0 to 6.
Okay, I follow. So promoters are your cheerleaders, passives are kind of indifferent, and detractors, well, they're not so happy.
Exactly. To calculate your NPS, you subtract the percentage of detractors from the percentage of promoters. Passives are ignored in the calculation.
Got it. So a higher positive score is better because it means you have more promoters than detractors. But why is this single number so important?
Well, NPS is widely used because it's simple, clear, and strongly linked to growth. It avoids survey fatigue by asking just one powerful question. Also, the responses don't just reflect satisfaction, they indicate advocacy. Promoters are more likely to refer, renew, and spend more with your business.
I see. So it's more than just a vanity metric. It's actually a predictor of future success. What are the benefits of tracking it over time?
It really is, Kevin. Tracking NPS over time allows you to benchmark your performance, identify trends, and see the impact of your customer service initiatives. Plus, if your detractors provide feedback, you can action it to avoid those comments in the future.
So we're measuring, we're systemizing, but what happens when you, the business owner, become the bottleneck? How do we avoid that?
That's a challenge a lot of scaling companies face, Kevin. You can't be the one resolving every single issue. It's about empowering your team to own the customer experience.
Easy to say, hard to do, right? Letting go of control is tough. So how do we actually do that, Granger?
Well, the first step is defining what great customer service looks like in your business. What would your dream client review say? Paint that picture for your team. Set clear standards so everyone knows what they're aiming for.
Okay, defining the goalposts. Makes sense. What's next?
Next, you need to equip your team with the right tools, shared inboxes, simple CRM systems, feedback tags. Give them what they need to resolve issues efficiently, and more importantly, give them the autonomy to use those tools without needing your sign-off for every little thing.
Autonomy is key, I agree. But how do you ensure they're making the right decisions? It's a tough balance, eh?
It is, but that's where clear standards and training come in. You need to build guardrails so they know how far they can go to resolve issues without needing approval. And of course, recognition is crucial. Highlight positive customer feedback in your weekly meetings, reinforce what matters, and show your team the impact they're making. That kind of thing will give your team a morale boost.
So it's about shifting from a founder-led to a team-led approach. Customer service becomes everyone's responsibility, not just something you fix.
Exactly. When customer service becomes embedded in your culture, it's no longer a bottleneck. It becomes a scalable engine for growth.
And it's not just about external perception either, is it, Granger? I mean, we've talked a lot about the customer, but surely good customer service has an impact internally too.
Absolutely, Kevin. That's something that can often get overlooked. When your team consistently hears positive feedback, that their work made someone's day easier, or that a client referred a friend because of how they were treated, it changes the energy. It lifts morale.
Right, empowered people perform better. Makes total sense.
It's a ripple effect. When you resource your team, trust them, and celebrate the wins, they go further. Conversely, when your team hears silence or sees that customer issues are ignored, their motivation drops. They disengage. It's a two-way street, really.
So it's really important to make sure we are celebrating the team's wins and contributions.
Spot on, Kevin. Going back to the booklet, there's a really useful self-assessment in there for listeners to have a look at.
Ah, tell me more.
Well, it's a series of questions designed to help you reflect on how strategic your customer service really is. Things like, do you treat customer service as a growth lever, not a burden? Is someone clearly responsible for the customer experience? And can your team solve issues without you? That kind of thing.
Sounds like a great way to gauge where you're at and identify areas for improvement.
Exactly. I encourage all our listeners to take a look and see how they score. It might just highlight some blind spots you didn't even know you had.
Yeah, and it's a great reflection tool. So let's bring it all together, Granger. What are the key takeaways for our listeners today?
I think the biggest thing is to really shift your mindset. Customer service isn't just a department, it's a strategic asset, and it's one of the most powerful levers that you have to scale your business.
And it's about being proactive, not reactive.
Exactly. And to actively design, measure, and improve your customer service, not just hope it goes well.
So what's the call to action for our listeners today, Granger?
I'd say dive in and implement some of these ideas. Start with the scale model, measure your NPS, empower your team, and build a culture of customer centricity.
And don't forget to refer back to the booklet to deep dive further into the concepts we've discussed today. So that brings us to the end of another episode of ScaleUp Club Monthly.
Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. We really appreciate you spending your time with us.
Until next time, happy scaling.